Good evening, everyone. I think people are still coming in. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to our Q&A, the first Q&A session of the year 2024. Oh my goodness, it's 2024. Wow. We are excited to have you guys on. I know people are still popping on. I see the numbers are going up. Just want to say welcome into our first Q&A session of the year. We have some big plans for our home buyers this year. My name is Felicia Neal. I am the mortgage loan specialist here with Invest Atlanta. I work directly with the lenders. We have one on tonight. There should be another one joining us, but we do have one on. But I'm also going to welcome my team in. So we have Kirsten Ryan. So Kirsten, say hello.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year to you. Welcome to our first session for 2024. We're so excited to have you here. We're so excited to kick off the year with this Q&A session, and we have so many things in store in our homeownership team this year for our citizens of Atlanta. I'm the homeownership coordinator, and I work directly with Felicia. I work closely with the closing attorney. So as when you pick out your house and you're getting ready to go to the closing table, I'll be the one to, get your closing documents all together. So I look forward to getting to that step with you. And I just thank you again for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much. And then we also have Michelle with us. But before I get to Michelle, we have lenders with us. We have Nicole Sudduth, who is with Synovus. Nicole, say hello.
Hello.
She'll be talking a little bit more later on. We got her on here for the duration, so she's going to be on later on to answer questions with us. But before we get started, Karen is also on here from Atlanta Land Trust. But before I turn it over to Michelle, I can't remember what we said we were going to do, but I'm going to turn it over to Michelle, who's our community engagement specialist. She is awesome. She is still a part of the homeownership team. We love Michelle. But before Michelle, I get to Michelle, just want to remind you guys that you're on the Q&A session. You have to stay on here for at least an hour. I would encourage you to stay on here the entire 2 hours. You'll get a lot of great information. We're going to do some answering questions at the end, probably around 6 o'clock. So get whatever questions you want to put in. Your questions need to go in the Q&A chat. So you need to put whatever questions you need or want answered in the Q&A chat. If you're on here as a phone number, we cannot email you your confirmation if you're on here as a phone number. So please email me. You can email me fneal@investatlanta.com, and I will make sure that you get taken care of if you're on here for the entire 60 minutes. Okay. So now we got that out of the way. Michelle. So I'm going to introduce Michelle, and she's going to tell you some exciting things we got coming aboard. Hey,
Thank you
Michelle.
so much. Thank you, Felicia. I know David did manage to pop on, but you may not be able to see him.
I can't.
Okay, David.
Oh, I see him.
There you go. I'll let David go ahead and
Okay.
say hey first.
Hey everyone, I'm David Williams with First Community Mortgage. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, David.
Awesome.
Okay, Michelle.
All right, so I'm going to go really quickly. I am thankfully still an honorary member of the home ownership team. And prior to coming to Invest Atlanta, I was on the mortgage servicing end for about 6 years. So the last 17 years or so, I have learned that there are great ways to get you into a home, but there are also great ways to make sure you stay in your home. So this year, we're going to try something different. We're going to make sure that we're running monthly webinars outside of these Q&A sessions. So there'll be the Q&A sessions and then the house rules for home ownership sessions. And the first one this year is understanding your credit. That's going to be on Tuesday, the 23rd. Throughout the year, you're going to get information from lenders, from closing attorneys, so you can see the documents you're going to sign. You'll talk with people about foreclosure, prevention, how to buy with a fixer-upper, all sorts of things that are going to help you get into a home, but also preserve your home ownership. So I'm going to put in the chat the website address for you to just go to our calendar, our Invest Atlanta calendar. If you go to our website and click on About Us and then click on Events, you will see a calendar of all of our events, and you'll have the opportunity to register for those events. So whether you are on the quest right this second to buy a home, or you think it might be something that's on your horizon in the next couple of months or few months, start out with understanding your credit, okay? So thank you so much for having me on for this quick second, and you guys have a great night. And watch the chat box for our website address for our calendar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you. We also have on here with us tonight Karen from the Atlanta Land Trust. She's going to go over some different items. We appreciate her being on here all the time with us. She's one of our community partners as well. So Karen, take it away, and I'm going to find your PowerPoint here.
Find my slides. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm like Felicia. Wow, it's 2024. We have some exciting things coming up, and I'm excited to just let everyone know you have everything you need on this call. Synovus is one of our new partners. So Nicole is someone that we all know in the real industry, and she's now able to provide mortgages for community land trust properties. So we're real excited about that. So if you don't know about the Atlanta Land Trust, you can Google us and find out a little bit more, but we're established with the birth of the Beltline to deliver and steward permanently affordable housing. That is so important, not just in Atlanta, but all over the country. And we are so committed to that vision. Next slide. Next slide. You can get to learn more about the land trust every month. We hold a session just like this every month on the second Saturday of the month. So you can find that link, or you could email me and I'll send you the links for the next couple of months and join us so you'll know exactly what a land trust is and how they work and how we provide discounted homes, new construction, and totally renovated homes. So remember, there are two different sessions. The Q&A is a necessary part of the process, as well as our community information session. They're two separate things. These are some of the homes that we've recently sold. In the next slide, I'm gonna go quickly. This is one of the really exciting projects that we currently are selling. This is Park View. If you haven't heard about it, you can Google that, go by there. We have 21 homes that we're selling in Park View at severely discounted prices. The mayor honored us today. He came by Park View for the first time. He had never seen it. So this neighborhood, we currently have 3 homeowners that just moved in December. So we're real excited. They were excited. Next slide. This is one of our new townhome communities that Invest Atlanta is supporting in Eastlake. Eastlake is not necessarily a Beltline neighborhood, but it is a neighborhood where the affordability factor has severely diminished. So we're coming back with 44 units, I think, of affordable housing, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. We're excited about that one. Next one. This is for all you West End folks. This is the Trust at Oakland City. This is going to be on Donnelly, at the corner of Donnelly and Peoples. It's nothing now, but you have to get in on the ground floor. So we will be launching and doing a groundbreaking probably this summer or before for this particular project. And we pre-sale before anything. You have to have a reservation. So look out for information coming about that. And this is the first project we started with that is Atlanta Land Trust initiated. It's the Avenue at Oakland City. You can see the townhomes. They're completed. One row is completed. Those homeowners will be moving in at the end of February. So we're really excited. Next one. And you could be one of those homeowners. We have all of those townhomes that I just showed you we're having reservations. So you can take our class and find out how to become one of the future homeowners in one of those communities. And we also have single family residences that are always popping up, and they're new construction as well. Some are total renovations. So here's my contact information. Shoot me an email and I can get your questions answered and get you signed up for the next Community Land Trust information session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Karen will be on a little bit later, guys. She's running out to get somewhere, but she's going to get where she can get back on with us. So if you have questions, put your questions in the chat. We're going to answer all the questions later on. So Karen, I know if you got to get out of there, we'll hang on to you. So thank you so much, Karen. So some of you may be on the call, may have heard of Invest Atlanta. Some of you may not. But these next few slides are, we're going to talk about just people who are in the same position where you are in right now. They are just homeowners who are looking to buy a home inside the city limits of Atlanta. Okay. So we've gone over our introductions. We're going to talk about the basics. We're going to talk about the benefits, and we're going to give you details about the incentives. And then again, at the probably 6 o'clock hour, we will start going over our questions. So please make sure you're putting questions in the chat. So who is Invest Atlanta? We are the official economic development agency for the city of Atlanta, and our mission across the entire organization is to grow a strong economy by building vibrant communities and increasing economic prosperity and equity for all Atlantans. Okay. These are some of the projects that we've had hands in, and we do this through our economic development and through our community development side. So these projects that you're seeing here is one that we had hands in. So the Housing Finance Department had a hand in the Ponce City Market. It is through our finance through gap financing. Portia is an example of an economic development where we had our hand in bringing in Portia to come to the city of Atlanta. So, when you have a corporation come to the city of Atlanta, that obviously creates new jobs. So we had our hand in that. The College Football Hall of Fame. I'm a super huge college football person. I was going for Michigan. So I'm an SEC fan, but I did go for Michigan to take the national title. So, but this is part of our redevelopment. And then some of you may be on here, in addition to looking for homes, may be doing small business. So we do have a small business department, and Lotta Fruta is one of our that came in and wanted to get a small business loan. So she came in, did that, and then she ended up getting her second location at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. So these are just a few of the areas outside of down payment assistance. So, we're more than just down payment assistance, but you are here for the down payment assistance. Renting versus owning. This is just basically just showing you, what you could be saving. And I know Michelle talked about understanding your credit and how we're going to go about this year, just talking about helping you throughout the whole process, not just, trying to get you into a home, but what you can do once you're in your home and how you can continue to move forward in that. So this is just a slide showing that, just showing the difference between renting and owning. So we all know that rent goes up. Seems like it goes up every 6 months. I pay one of my daughter's rent, and seems like it just always going up. So, but if you're owning, you have a little bit more control over that. You know, it goes up. Obviously, your taxes and insurance plays a big part of that, but your principal and interest will be what you pay for when you sign your closing documents. Okay. The next slide here, why live in town? Well, we've already talked about closer to jobs. Remember, we talked about Portia being here, but you also have better access to public transportation. More businesses are moving to the city, better access to green space, parks, social life, and recreation. And then homes inside, residents inside urbanized areas tend to retain their value more. So these are some of the reasons that you would like to live in town. Our job on the call tonight is to sell you the city. You know, this is what we try to do. And this map here basically is showing you what's going on around the city. At the bottom down here is the Beltline, which is an old railroad corridor about 22 miles long. I'm thinking, I think I heard somebody say that they're getting ready to start maybe doing tours again, but you might want to check that out. I heard when they were doing them prior to COVID that it was very informative. So definitely want to look into something like that if you can have a chance to. Underground Railroad or Underground Atlanta. This is a picture of rendition of what, we want it to look like. Things are in the works underground, but, it's not there yet, but it's coming. We have to just show you where things are coming so you'll know where to start buying your home. Summer Hill, my son actually lives down in Summer Hill. He goes to Georgia State. So this looks, very similar. I know he goes to that Publix that's over in the area. So very nice coming up around there. Actually, my daughter thinking about moving over in that area herself. So just some areas, Pittsburgh Yards. This is off the University Avenue off of 7585. Looks very closely like this, and the Beltline runs right behind this project. Then we have Cook Park. This serves as a water reservoir and has green space. So we talked about that green space. This is part of that green space that we were talking about. Westside Park looks like this. So, but again, guys, we want you to see the areas because location selection for your new home is key. Okay. You always hear location, location, location. And we want to show you the areas that will be increasing because of things that are going on in and around the city. So doing so will start you on your journey of generational wealth. That's where we all want to be talking about building equity and wealth for your children, for your grandchildren, and so forth. We've seen clients, people who've had our incentives, they ended up selling their homes in the past year or two, walk away with several $100,000. This is life-changing, for most people. This is life-changing. So just, we want to make sure you know where you buy, what you're buying. The more you learn, the more you know, the more you will gain for your own individual knowledge. And this is why we show you what's coming up in the way of redevelopment. Okay. So now that we've talked about, where you can kind of look and what's going on, we're going to talk about the different incentives that we have right now. We currently have 4 incentives, and we're going to talk about each one of these individually. We're going to talk about Vine City Renaissance Initiative. We're going to talk about ATL Home Renovation Advantage. We're going to talk about In-Town Mortgage Assistance Program, and we're going to talk about Perry Bolton Mortgage Assistance Program. Okay, so the basics. You must attend an Invest Atlanta Q&A session. Okay, you're doing that now, and you have been on here 20 minutes. Remember at the top, I said that you need to stay on here at least 60 minutes in order for you to get credit for the session. Your lenders, whether it be David or McCole or any of other lenders listed on our website, but we have both David and McCullough on tonight. They're going to ask you for your confirmation. They're going to ask you, did you take Q&A? And you're going to say, I sure did. Here's my confirmation. So you will get an email confirmation if you stay on here for the 60 minutes, probably by Friday at the latest. Okay. So just make sure you're staying on here for that 60 minutes. If you have to get off for some reason, you can always go online and take it. You can go to our website and take that Q&A session online. You must also attend an 8-hour homebuyer education class offered by one of the participating agencies that is listed on our website. Please make sure that you are going to the website. Okay. There are others out there, but please, it is very important that you use the one that is listed on our website. If you are buying a renovation loan, or if you're doing a renovation loan, in addition to the Q&A session and the homebuyer education course, you also have to take a renovation course. Okay. That's a special class that talks about renovation. There's a lot that goes into renovation loans, and you need to be on top of what you're doing. So we'll talk about that a little bit when we get to the incentive of the for the renovation. But please, if you're doing a renovation loan, please make sure you take that renovation course. You must use a participating lender and close with a participating closing attorney. Again, we have 2 capable lenders on the line with us tonight. You will get their contact information. And then the participating closing attorney, there is a list on our website. We will be updating that list probably in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So just make sure, if you're not closing in, this week or next week, just make sure you're looking on there and making sure you have the appropriate closing attorney. Okay. If you are buying an existing property, it must be inspected. That means you have to get a home inspection. Okay. And this has to be done prior to closing. Home inspection is for you to make sure that you know what you're buying. Okay. Make sure that it's structurally sound, foundational, and everything like that. So it's for you, for your benefit. You must contribute $1,500 of your own funds into the transaction. We get a lot of calls and, saying, well, $1,500. Yes, you must contribute $1,500. Well, if you are putting down earnest money of $1,000, and then you're paying for your appraisal, and then you're paying for your renovation certificate. If you're buying a renovation loan, you're paying for your homebuyer education course. You're paying for a home inspection. All of those, if you paid for those, we can actually count those. So by adding all 3 of those or 3 of those together, you've already met that minimum because you're putting down 1,000. The appraisal is at least $450. Home inspection is probably at least $400. So you've already met that $1,500. But you say, well, Felicia, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just bringing $1,500 to closing. That is fine. If you're bringing $1,500, at least $1,500 of closing, you're fine on that end as well. Okay. You may not have any ownership interest in any other property, meaning that if someone has given you a property, at the time you close on our home, you cannot own that property. Okay. So you need to get that out of your name so you can close on our home. And then you must purchase a home inside the incorporated city limits of Atlanta. Oh my gosh, do we get so many questions on incorporated city limits of Atlanta? Well, where is that? Well, first, it should say Atlanta, but even if your address says Atlanta, that does not mean you inside the city limits. So we have a GIS that we go and look at, that we make sure. And once you pull up this GIS and you type in the address, it's going to give you 3 indicators that you need to look for. Okay. You're going to look for the council district. You're going to look for the NPU, which is neighborhood planning unit. You're going to look for the neighborhood name. Now, all 3 of these, sometimes there may not be a neighborhood name. It may say no name, but it should have everything else on there. Okay. Now, it may not have, if you're buying a new construction, you may not can't locate it, but the builder will know if that property pays city taxes or taxes to the city of Atlanta. Okay. I've heard people say, I know Miss Pat has always told me from Atlanta Housing said, if you can vote for the mayor, but if you put in the address and in this GIS and it comes up, that's your ticket to say, okay, this home is inside the city limits of Atlanta. Very important that you know where your property is. Okay, it's very important. If I get a file and I pull it and it's not in that GIS, there's nothing I can do. Okay, very important that you know what you're looking at too. All right. And with that, I think we're going to turn it over to Kirsten so she can go over some of these incentives. She's going to go over the next 4 incentives with you guys, and then I am going to come back in and we're going to close it out, and then we're going to turn it over. We're going to keep going with the questions. So, Kirsten, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Felicia.
You're welcome.
Okay, the first incentive we're going to talk about tonight is going to be the Vine City Renaissance Initiative. In this incentive, you would get $20,000 that can be used towards the closing costs or the down payment. And this is fully forgiven if you live in the home for just 5 years. If you look to the right, you will see a chart with our maximum income limits. For a one-person household, it is $100,100, and it goes up to $154,420 for a 5-person household. Let me explain how we calculate the income for your household. So if you are a single mom and you may have your child maybe 18 years old and they have a part-time job and the grandmother is also living in the home, that would be considered a 3-person household because we would be counting your income, the grandparents' income, and your child if they're working and they have income, and if they're over the age of 17, I believe. So any income that's coming into the home, we're going to count that towards your maximum income limits. This is a silent second mortgage program. We call it a silent second because there is a note and a deed that is attached to it, but there is no payment that is going to be paid every month in addition to your regular mortgage payment. If this property is sold within the 5-year affordability period, the entire loan must be repaid. But you're going to stay in your home because you love your home. But, if you decide that you want to sell it before the 5 years, you will be repaying us back the monies that we have loaned to you. This may be used with a renovation loan. And this is the only incentive right now that has no maximum purchase price. So that's a good thing. Eligible properties would be single-family detached homes. It can be a townhome, condos, 2 to 4 units, which include duplexes, triplexes, and quadruplexes. The property must be located within the initiative boundaries of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive to the south, Northside Drive to the east, Donald L. Howell Parkway to the north, and Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard to the west. That will, those areas are the boundaries for the Vine City area. This incentive has a $25,000 liquid asset cap. And by liquid asset cap, we mean monies that are liquid. We're not going to be counting your retirement account or anything like that. Something that you can go and put your hands on right away, like your savings account, checking account, money market account, things like that. There is a $1,000 program fee for this incentive, and the acceptable credit score and debt to income ratio would be determined by by your lender. Nicole, would you like to explain to everyone a little bit about how the debt to income works?
Sure.
Sorry about that. So debt to income is calculated by taking your, we take your monthly gross income. So if you make, let's just say 60,000 a year, your monthly gross income is $5,000. And we have maximum debt to income depending on the product. So the amount of your monthly debts that are reported on your credit report. So your a car note, credit card bills, your minimum payments, we're gonna take those, add those up, and it cannot exceed a certain percentage of your monthly gross income. And we're gonna combine that with the monthly mortgage payment. So I always struggle with trying to explain, and I probably explain it like 500 different ways every time. But it is basically a percent, your monthly debts and your monthly mortgage payment can only be a certain percentage of your monthly gross income. And it's hard to say what percentage that is because that does vary by the product. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
You're welcome.
The next incentive we're going to show tonight is the ATL Home Renovation Advantage. This is one of the favorites. This is the fun one. In this incentive, you will receive $20,000 towards down payment assistance and or closing costs. And this is also fully forgiven after you live in the home for just 5 years. To the right here, you will see the maximum income limits for this one for a one-person household is $85,800, and it goes up to $132,360 for a 5-person household. You'll see 2 pictures here. The home on the left has some renovations that need to be done, and you see the home on the right where look at the big difference that just some renovations done to the exterior of the home, and I'm sure the interior as well. It makes a big difference. And when we're saying renovations, it doesn't have to be anything major. New windows, if you may need a roof, or you may need an HVAC system. All of these are considered renovations and can increase the, curb appeal of your home and of course the value. This is also a silent second mortgage program, and this must be used with the FHA 203K or conventional home style renovation loan. If this property is sold within the 5-year affordability period, you must repay the entire loan. The maximum purchase price for this incentive is $385,000, and this incentive has a $1,200 program fee. We also have that same liquid asset cap that I discussed in the VCRI program, where you cannot have more than $25,000 in any liquid asset that you can go and put your hands on right away. The property must be located within the city limits of Atlanta and outside of Vine City and English Avenue boundaries. Eligible properties are single-family detached homes, condos, townhomes, and 2 to 4 units, which include duplexes, triplexes, and quadruplexes. The acceptable credit score and debt-to-income ratio must be determined by the lender, and this cannot be layered with any other programs. Home buyers must attend a renovation education class offered by a participating agency, like we were talking about a little bit earlier. I believe RCI is the agency, but you can look on the website and it will show you exactly what the participating agencies are that offer this class. In-Town Mortgage Assistance Program, which we like to call IMAP. This is also a favorite. You would receive a FHA, VA, or conventional 30-year fixed rate loan, as well as $20,000 towards your down payment and or closing costs. And this is fully forgiven after you live in the home for just 5 years. Maximum income limit is $85,800 for a one-person household, and it goes up to $132,360 for a five-person household. This is also a silent second mortgage program. And FHA, for FHA, the minimum FICO score is 660 with a maximum debt to income of 45%. For conventional, the minimum FICO score is 640 with a maximum DTI of 45%. FHA conventional maximum DTI is 50% with a 680 FICO score. The maximum purchase price for this incentive is also $385,000 for VA, conventional, and FHA loans. This also carries that $25,000 liquid asset cap that we discussed, and there's a $1,000 program fee for this incentive. If the property is sold within the 5-year affordability period, the entire loan must be repaid. And this has eligible properties that are townhomes, condos, single-family detached homes, and 2 to 4 units, which include duplexes, triplexes, and quadruplexes. And the last incentive we're going to show you tonight is the Perry Bolton Mortgage Assistance Program. You will receive up to $20,000 in mortgage assistance to help with the down payment and or closing costs. And this is also fully forgiven after you live in the home for just 5 years. This incentive is a little bit different because we have 2 levels. If you're at the 80% of the area median income, the income is for a one-person household, $57,200, and it goes up to $88,240 for a 5-person household. However, if you are at the 120% AMI, for a one-person household, it goes up to $85,800, and for a 5-person household, $132,360. Home buyers that are at 80% of AMI or below and purchasing homes that are permanently affordable are eligible to receive $20,000 in assistance. And if you are a home buyer and you're up to 120% of AMI and you're purchasing a home within the Perry Bolton TAD, you're eligible to receive $10,000 in assistance. This program has a $1,000 program fee, and the $25,000 asset cap is the same. This is also a silent second mortgage program. And if you sell this home within the 5-year affordability period, the entire loan would have to be repaid. And the most important thing for this incentive is the property must be located within the Perry Bolton tax allocation district. And we're going to show you what that is in the next slide, which has a rendering. The Perry Bolton tax allocation district is the purple area. And if you look down to the lower right, that would be showing the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So you can kind of see what the proximity is between the Perry Bolton TAD and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And neighborhoods that are included in the Perry Bolton TAD would be parts of Grove Park, Cary Park, and Center Hill. So here you see who's benefited from the home buyer incentive programs. We have assisted 1,462 families, and it's a little bit higher than that now. 1,701 down payment assistance loans have been closed. 55 million in down payment incentives, and we've closed 77 renovation loans. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Felicia.
Thanks so much, Kirsten. Thank you so much, guys. That was some great information. I know it was a lot of information. We will be getting this presentation out to you. But some great information, and we have, if you have questions, um, please put them in the chat. We're on here until 7 tonight to answer any questions. I know you'll probably say, well, gosh, Felicia, I don't have any questions right now, but we may have some, tomorrow. You can email us with questions if you like, but we do have our lenders on here as well. But what I'm showing you right now is the pathway to homeownership with Invest Atlanta. Okay, it's 5:41, and remember I said you have to stay on here for at least 60 minutes. So you still have some time to stay on here because I get a report and I will know if you're still on here. And if you've left before that 60 minutes, I'm not going to be able to email you. Okay. So please make sure you're staying on here. There are going to be some great questions. I'm seeing some good questions in the chat, and we're going to get to all of them. So make sure you stay on here. But your pathway is you're going to attend the Q&A session. If you stay on here that 60 minutes, you can check that off your list. Okay. When you get the confirmation, check that off your list. You're going to contact a participating homebuyer education provider and enroll in the homebuyer education course. Okay, you can do that now. Go ahead and enroll. Your certificate from a home education provider is good for 12 months. Our Q&A session is good for 12 months. Okay, you're gonna get pre-approved or approved with a mortgage with one of our lenders. David is on here from First Community. Nicole is on here from Synovus. I keep forgetting she used to be somewhere else. But she's on here as well. And, they are very knowledgeable about our incentives. So, go ahead and get approved. So when you find your home, you're ready to go. Okay. You're going to find a real estate agent and you're going to look for a home within the city limits of Atlanta. Remember, if it's outside the city limits of Atlanta, we won't be able to offer you our incentives. I'm not saying that you have to buy inside, but if you want our $20,000, then you need to buy a home inside the city limits of Atlanta. We probably have some agents on here now. I've spoken with quite a few agents and told them, hey, they need to come on and join so they can learn how to hear about the incentives and be able to knowledgeably speak to you guys about it as well. Negotiate a 45 to 60-day sales contract. You want to be able to do that so you won't have to keep going back to say, oh, I need to get another extension or another extension. So if you do a 45-day, and guys, I don't even know if we've ever had a loan for 45 days. Usually the files that we get, we close them the majority of time within 3 weeks. So, if you're getting everything into your lender and making sure you're doing everything that you need to do on your end, the process can go a little bit smoother. Okay. Your lender is going to forward your down payment assistance package to us, and then we're going to review your file. And I'm going to look at it, and if everything is in there, I'm going to give them approval. If they need some information, I'm going to send it to them. They're going to send it to you and say, hey, we're going to need this, this, and this. So when they send you that list or send you a couple of things that you need to get, make sure you're getting it back to them. Okay. We're going to do everything we can on our part to get your loan to the closing table. Your lender is going to do everything on their part to get your loan to the closing table. So we need for you guys to do everything you can do on your end to get your loan to the closing table. Because at the end of the day, that's what we all want, is to get you to your closing. And if we were in the office, and we haven't been in the office in a long time, but when we used to do these in the office, we had little hand clappers, and I'm going to have to get me a hand clapper because we would say, woohoo, 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 woohoo. And then we would be clapping and saying, because that's the happy part. When you get to your closing table, you get those keys in your hand and you go home and go to your new home. That's where the happy faces come in. Okay. And that's where we want to help you get to. That's why we do what we do on this end with the down payment assistance. But this is your pathway. So just don't forget, this is what you need to do. These are the steps that you need to take. Okay. You can go to our website. This here is just a rendering of what the website looks like. It's, don't take a picture of this, don't even go by this, but I just want to show you how to get to there. So when you go to the website, you can look across, you see Ys, you see Ns. If there's a Y beside under IMAP or ATL Home Renovation Advantage, if there's an in there, that means that particular lender cannot do renovation loans. So you want to find one that can. So this is how you can find that website is up to date. I literally was just in there today updating some information. So go to the website, go to our website, play around on the website. You'll find a lot of great information on the website, but I just want to show you this is how you're going to look at it. Okay. Again, the steps, because I guarantee you I'm going to get 4 or 5 emails tomorrow saying, well, I was on the Q&A session. What is my next step? Okay. Your next step is to enroll in an education class. If you've done that, get with the lender, get with McCole, get with David and say, hey, I've already done my education course. I've already taken the Q&A session. I'm in the process of looking for a home, but I want to see how much home I qualify for. I want to see how much home I'm approved for. So these are your steps. So you can do step 1, 2, 3. You can do step 3 first. You can do step 2 first. But obviously you can't do step 5 until you've done 1 through 4. Okay. You can start looking for a home, but you want to probably make sure you have a good idea of what you can afford to buy. And that's why getting pre-approved or getting approved, I don't even know if pre-approvals are good anymore. I think most of the time they want to see an approval. So just make sure you're getting with McCole or David. They have a lot of great knowledge and can get you to where you need to get to. So say if you're already in your home, okay, and you say 3 years down the road, you have a 7% interest rate now, and interest rate have fallen back down to 5%. And you said, well, gosh, I still have to be in my home 2 more years. Well, we could do a refinance. We will do a refinance and we'll do a subordination, meaning that your loan that you have with us will still be in the same position, second or third position, depending on if you getting other down payment assistance. But we will do that. But knowing that you will have to do a 30-year refinance and that you cannot get any cash out, because any cash out you get, we want you to pay our loan back. Okay. We want you to pay us back for the monies that you've gotten. So, there's nothing wrong with refinancing. There's nothing wrong, you're getting a lower interest rate. Yes, you can do that. We will do everything in our power to help with the subordination and do the subordination for you. But you can't get any cash out, because if you can cash out, we want our 20,000 back. Okay. And you don't have to refinance with one of our approved lenders. You can, whoever you want, you find, or whoever finds you, then you're able to do that. Okay. And this is our team. Anita Allgood, I believe she's on here. She usually is not on with us. Thank you, Anita, for being on with us tonight. She's usually so busy, but I think it's the first of year. She's got a little breather right now. But she is our Vice President of Single Family and Homeownership Services. I am Felicia Neal, your mortgage loan specialist. And then you heard from Kirsten Ryans. And then Marquita Key is our Homeownership Anti-Displacement Manager, helping out with our senior citizens. Renovation education provider. Kirsten talked about resources for residents and communities. I always want to just say RRC, but that's who you can find to do your renovation certificates. And then our community partners, Atlanta Housing. And I think we talked about layering. So we can layer with Atlanta Housing. So meaning that you can get our $20,000 and then whatever, you can get $20,000 from Atlanta Housing. So, that's $40,000. And if you're a first responder or anything like that, you can get an additional $5,000 from Atlanta Housing. So possibly $45,000. So you need to learn everything you can learn about our incentives. We are here to help with that down payment assistance, and we love doing what we do. But that is it on that front. So we did pretty good. We have an extra 10 minutes that we can spend on questions. Anita, did you have anything or did anything to add? We know you.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Felicia. I was a little bit late. I tried my best to join on time and I was a little bit late. I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone and thank you so much for being here. We are going to have some wonderful series this year. We hope that you continue to join us throughout the year so that you can accomplish all of your home ownership goals in 2024. Again, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Anita. Thanks so much. We did talk about our upcoming homeownership. Michelle came on earlier and did speak a little bit about that, but you guys will get information about that as well. But for now, we're going to go into some questions because I see quite a few questions in here. Right now I see 50 questions. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me see. Let me move my screen back over. And I'm going to ask my lenders, if you want to go ahead and turn your cameras on so we can get these questions going here. Okay. First question. I currently reside in a home I am renting from, and I would like to learn more about switching over as a homeowner who pays a mortgage. David, you want to go ahead and take that question? You're on mute.
Could you repeat that question, please?
Sure. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
This person says, I currently reside in a home and I am renting from, and I would like to learn more about switching over as a homeowner who pays a mortgage.
Oh, okay. So it sounds like basically you stay in a home and you're a renter there. I'm not sure if the question is, do you want to buy that home that you're actually renting or another home? But I'll be glad to talk to you about it. I'll be available for questions after the call and tomorrow and every day after that.
Okay, so well, just say that she wants to. Was anybody saying something?
Yeah, that was just me, Felicia. I think really the question is how does she go about transitioning from a renter to a homeowner, regardless of whether it's that
Right.
home or another home. And I would say if it's that home, she needs to confirm that the owner is willing to sell it. And then you would essentially follow the same process. You have got to get pre-qualified for a first mortgage loan. That's the most important aspect of buying a home. You don't need our down payment assistance until you can qualify for a mortgage to help you purchase that property. And so you would really follow the same steps by getting pre-qualified with one of our participating lender, any lender really, but it's our participating lenders that are going to help you access the down payment assistance. And so you would need to get pre-qualified.
Awesome. Okay. Hello team and Happy New Year. Forgive me for the early question. My certificate expired and I am nearing closing. Do I need to stay for the entire Q&A to obtain a new certificate? Yes, you do, because I won't know who you are if you don't stay on here, because I'm just going to pull my report. And if your email address is in that report, I am going to email you. So yes, please stay on here the entire time. Hopefully you did. Can you combine other programs or loans with VA loan, HUD grant, or Habitat for Humanity? So you can do a VA loan with us. Habitat for Humanity HUD grant. So we layer with Atlanta Housing and ANDP. So those are the two that we layer with right
And
now.
I'll just jump in. Atlanta Habitat for Humanity is a separate program. However, we just completed a collaboration with Atlanta Habitat in November of last year, and we will, moving forward, probably I would say in the next 60 days, be able to offer down payment assistance to Atlanta Habitat buyers as well. That's something that we had not been able to do in the past, but that recent collaboration is going to allow us to offer our down payment assistance to Atlanta Habitat buyers as well. Probably about 60 days though, for us to get it all together.
Awesome. That's great. That's great, people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Monique put her information in here, guys. She's a realtor, so she has her information in here. So you can take that down if you want to. The IA business is open to new business owners looking to start a brick and mortar business. The IA business is open to new business owners looking to start a brick and mortar business. I'm guessing she's asking the question.
Well, I think you're asking about small business incentives. This is not that presentation. Our small business team has a Q&A session as well, and I would strongly suggest that you register for that Q&A session, and then you can get your small business questions answered at that session.
How is Invest Atlanta different from Urban League of Greater Atlanta Homebuyer programs?
I think
well,
we just answered the question in the Q&A.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
I think we answered the question.
Can you refer a class that has the exact class? I was met with uncertainty from several companies doing the 8-hour class. Jackie, are you referring to, I don't know which class you're referring to, the homebuyer education class, since you're saying 8 hours? I don't know which companies you're referring to, but there are 11 or 12 on our list that's listed on the website. So I'm not sure which class. You can email me fneal@investatlanta.com, and I can see if I can answer that question because I'm not really sure what you're asking. If you have a dependent that is with you 6 months out of the year, do they count as household members? Well, we've had this before. So when you submit your application, Anita, we've had that before. And when we got the application, the person was listed on the application. So we did count that as household income.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing if the person is not with that person at the time of application.
Yeah,
Because,
I mean, if you're going to use that person as a household member, we're going to count their income as well. And so the question is, if they're there 6 months out of the year, I believe we do count them as a household member, but we're also going to count their income as well. And the lenders can help me out there because I probably haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, if somebody's asking that, that's probably because they need an extra household member. And that means if it's a child, not an adult, I would assume, right? So probably sharing custody with another parent. So
right. But I think we would count it as a household member. Yes.
Yeah.
We would. And if they had income, we would count that as well. So hopefully that answers the question.
Right. Can you please post your email for the cell phone users, please? And thank you. Let me give it to you. F is in Frank, N is in Nancy, EAL homebuyer@investatlanta.com. Okay, if you don't file taxes or a dependent, can they be counted? If you don't file taxes or a dependent,
For a dependent.
okay, because I'm
For
like,
a dependent. So if the dependent is missing from the tax returns,
so if
can
you're dependent,
can they be counted as a household member? I guess that's a question.
It's the same person too that asked about the 6
Mm.
months.
Mm-hmm. So this person doesn't file taxes.
Michelle.
Yeah. Yeah, Michelle. That was gonna be rough. If you don't even file taxes for this person you're claiming as a dependent, um, it's doubtful we're gonna let you do that. And they don't live with you full time. It's doubtful we're gonna let you do that.
okay. If we decide to buy a home that needs a little love, do you all give us access to contractors? Your lender, Nicole, or well, I don't know if Nicole does renovation loans. David, do you do renovation loans? Because we don't, I mean,
So the
we don't
answer is
give you,
no, we
no,
do not. We're
right,
not going to refer you to contractors. That is the responsibility of you as the home buyer, which is why we require you to go to renovation training so that you can understand where your role and responsibility lies in that transaction, because it's different than a normal transaction. So your lender probably has a list of contractors that you can or cannot use. They must certainly be licensed, whomever you choose, but that list will not come from us.
okay. And Keely, same thing. How great, this is a great question. How do student loans factor into determining debt to income ratio? Okay. Nicole, I think you were starting.
Looking at David.
David, either or, either or.
That's funny.
Y'all love that question.
Yeah, we love that question. So yeah, we do. So student loans, it's a couple of different ways we have to take that into consideration. So for FHA loan, we have to use 0.5% of the balance of the loan as a minimum estimated payment, unless if it's zero. Okay, let me go back. We have to use 0.5% of the balance as estimated payment. If you are on an true income-based repayment plan where you have an established payment with your student loan company, which we're starting to see that more now since we've gotten past the longer forbearance period, then we have to use whatever the payment is that has been established by your student loan company. We don't use the estimate, but if you are still in some type of a forbearance or deferment situation with your student loans, you don't have an established payment, we use the 0.5% for FHA. For conventional, it's 1%, unless it is, well, we can't do 0.5% for one of the conventional loans, but we can also use zero if it's a conventional loan, if you're truly on a zero monthly payment, income-based monthly payment. So it gets tricky if you're on a zero income-based payment, guys, and you're doing FHA, which honestly, a majority of the loans we do in this program we still have to use 0.5% of that balance as an estimated payment. I know it doesn't really make sense, but we don't make the guidelines, we just follow them. So if it's $10, if it's $5 a month versus zero, we can use 5, but it's zero, we got to use 0.5%. So that's the long version of how student loan payments are factored in.
Get with Nicole or David if you need to get more information, because it is
it's it can be complicated.
Yes. And so David, I'm gonna let you take this next one. So the DTI includes your monthly income times the monthly minimum payments from your credit cards, and what else?
Everything that reports to your credit bureau. So if you have student loan payment, a car payment, credit card, any type of loan, actually, if you pay child support, we can get that off your pay stub. Um, any type of debt that we see that's either on your pay stub or on your credit bureau, we count that on a monthly basis, plus your new mortgage payment, and that's what we divide by your gross monthly income to come up with your debt to income ratio.
Okay. All right. Is IMAP for first-time home buyers? So not necessarily, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. You can be, but you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. It's for anyone that is looking to buy a home that falls within that parameter. Remember, it has an income limit. So if you within that income limit, then you can use our IMAP incentive, but it's not necessarily just for first-time home buyers. What do you mean by second mortgage program? Is IMAP suitable for first-time home buyers? Okay, second mortgage program. Remember, as Christian was speaking about, it's a silent second, meaning when you go to the closing, you're going to get a copy of a note and you're going to get a copy of a deed, that you're going to sign the deed. And basically that is saying, remember we talked about the affordability period. And if you happen to leave that home before that 5 years is up, that's going to be a lien that's there. So when you leave, or if you say you're going to sell this home, when you get ready to sell, and they're going to say, "Oh, you have another lien on your property." So that's how we know that we're able to get our money back at that point. But if you stay in that home for those 5 years, then it's fully forgiven after those 5 years are up. Okay.
Can I take a stab too?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so you guys heard me speak about needing a first mortgage to purchase your property. So you're going to go to one of our participating lenders so that they can pre-qualify you for your $200,000+ mortgage. That is the mortgage you're going to use to purchase the property. That is your first mortgage. Your second mortgage are these down payment assistance dollars. We are providing these dollars to you in the form of a second mortgage. Your first mortgage has principal and interest and taxes and insurance along with a monthly payment. Your second mortgage, which is your down payment assistance funds, has no interest rate and no monthly payment. It only comes with the requirement that you stay in that property for 5 years, and then it is fully forgiven and you never have to pay it back. So when we say that it's a second mortgage program, it's with that we are providing those funds to you in the form of a second mortgage that is subordinate, meaning in second position to your first bank mortgage. Hopefully that was helpful as well.
Nicole's laughing. See where am I? What do you mean? Okay, I said that. What exactly is AMI? So AMI stands for Area Median Income, and it is determined by HUD, not by Invest Atlanta, but it is determined by HUD through the Metropolitan Statistical Area. So it's a big area that includes Sandy Springs, and which is in a total different, we know, area income, but it includes all of metropolitan area. So that is the area median income. Now, if anybody else want to take a stab at that, because that was kind of the short version of probably a longer.
Yeah, no, I think that gets it, Felicia. What I will add is that the AMI changes every year. HUD will put out new AMI numbers, area median income numbers, around March-ish of every year. And they generally will go up. So if you find yourself on the cusp of not qualifying, check again in March, April, when the new AMI numbers come out to see if maybe you squeak in there after the new numbers come out.
Okay. How does using multiple programs work? So I'm guessing you meaning all different incentives. So Uh, so basically, your lender is going to send us a package that would include all of your documentation. We're going to review it and see if we need anything else. But if you're getting, say, Atlanta Housing, they're also going to send your package over to Atlanta Housing, and then they're going to review it. We have different guidelines. They may be similar, but we may have to do things differently with different things on our end as well as Atlanta Housing. So that's how, the multiple programs. So, if you're having, you may get qualified and can use ours, but you may not can't use Atlanta Housing or vice versa, or it may be that you can qualify for both. Probably most of the time you can. So just make sure, that's three different underwrites, because you're going to have an underwriting with your lender, you have an underwriting with us, and then you have an underwriting with Atlanta Housing. And we all have our own different guidelines, but that's how that works. So that's why when we talked about the 45 days sales contract, because everybody had their own timeline. So just, we're trying to give people a different timeline to do what they need to do in each individual underwrite. Can you stack the loans with American Dream Buyer Grant? I'm not familiar with American Dream Buyer Grant, and that's not something that we layer ours with. Remember, we talked about Atlanta Housing was one of the ones that we layer with, which is probably the main one we do. And I've layered with ANDP and sometimes neighborhood stabilization programs. So those are the ones that, let me find my slide. If I can go back on here. These are our community partners that we layer with on the bottom of the slide, but you will get a copy of the slide as well. Georgia Dream, we do not layer with. So we answered both of those. What about our income when it comes to these loans? Okay. Nicole or David? I'm going back and forth. I'm trying to go back and forth. David, did you answer one yet? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm back. I'm sorry, my battery died.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I was like,
Yeah,
all right.
I'm back.
So,
I'm ready.
okay. What about our income when it comes to these loans? So I'm guessing she's saying where should her income be, or, I know that's kind of a wide question, but you can take a stab at it.
So basically, where should her income be to qualify for one of these loans is what the question is?
I'm guessing.
Okay. Well, basically, I have to check that once I get an application and see what type of house that you're wanting to qualify for as far as your monthly payment and your debt to income ratio. And then I can kind of tell you what type of income you would need to make.
Okay. Does closing costs come out of IMAP? For some reason my screen is doing something
Mine
weird
too.
over here. I mean,
Trying to get it back right here.
yeah. Does closing costs come out of IMAP? So,
There we go.
so it, so there's a $1,000 program fee that will be on our CD. So you'll have your lender CD. So say if you're with McCall, you'll have a Synovus CD, and then you'll have an Invest Atlanta or an Invest Atlanta CD. And so we have different, yes.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in because I think you're giving a very detailed explanation.
Okay.
So our incentives can pay for down payment and closing costs. So if your down payment requirement is less than $10,000, the remaining balance of that $10,000 will go towards paying your closing costs. So to answer the question I think you're answering, yes, closing costs can come out of the IMAP monies. Does that mean that you won't have to bring any money to the closing table? No, because the $10,000 may not cover the complete down payment and total closing costs. If you're layering programs and you're getting $20,000 from us and $20,000 from Atlanta Housing, certainly the down payment and all closing costs is going to be covered by that 40,000. And it's possible that all the closing costs and down payment can be covered by the 20,000. But I think that was the question. Does IMAP cover the closing costs? Sorry, Felicia.
No. Yeah, I think I was going to go really deep.
You were.
Oh, but it's good. Thank you. Thank you. How much normally does a home exception cost? I'm thinking you mean a home inspection. I don't really know. I think I've seen them at $350, $400, $450. It just depends on in there. I'm not really sure. I don't really see the invoice. But it's around that. I would say no more than $450. Okay. Is there a leniency with the $25,000 of assets? No leniency. $25,000 or less is what our guidelines state. Okay. How is household income determined if you live with your parents? If you're living with your parents, are they all going to live in the new house? I mean, it's going to be your income. If it's just you moving to the home, it's going to be your income that we're looking at. If your parents are moving in with you, then it's going to be you and your parents' income that we're going to be looking at. How do you get a renovation certificate? Remember, we talked about going to the website and looking up, so renovation RRC, resources for residents and communities. Okay. You can go to their website, rrc-atl.org. Okay. Let's see. If your savings account plus regular non-retirement brokerage account balances is greater than 25,000, are you shut out of all down payment assistance programs? Okay, so remember we talked about your savings, your checking, non-retirement, anything that adds up to be $25,000. So if your savings and your checking account is greater than $25,000, then you do not qualify for those particular incentives. Because really what we're saying, and we want to make houses affordable. There are people who have, $3,000 in their account or $6,000 in their account. And we want to make sure that everyone that can afford to get a home can get a home. And that's why we're offering the down payment assistance to help out with that. So it's great that you have those funds and it should be applauded, but use some of those funds to help you buy your house. Okay. How long is the approval process before you get to the closing table? So remember I was talking about you doing your part. And when the loan is submitted to us, your loan package is submitted to us. So that's depending on you and how long things take. So it could take 25 days. It could take 15 days, but there's a lot inside the process. And from our standpoint, from Invest Atlanta's standpoint, we're going to do whatever we can to get it to the closing table as soon as we can, as long as we get all the documentation that we need to get. And I'm sure that's the same way from, they're laughing at me, but I think the same for them. So do you guys have anything to say about that? Because I know the process can vary. I mean, each person, it can vary from person to person, but I would say on our end, we've gotten to the closing table from start to finish, within 30 days and probably 26, 25 days.
You're right. It does depend. And I mean, I can speak on my side and David can speak for his. I mean, I will say that you guys, you guys move very fast. Felicia, you do. And so it is a joint effort. It does depend on how quickly we can get the first mortgage approved. And if you're layering, how quickly the layering partner can get their approval. I mean, we all have to be in synchrony for us to close. So it varies. I mean, on average right now with the market being slower, it can be around 30 days. But 45 for me, and I've done many of them, is typically the average. For everybody to be ready to close. About 45 is the average. But right now we can do 30. We can. I'm sure David probably can as well.
Oh, absolutely. 30 all day long.
Yeah.
Just need that appraisal in. We can't submit without that appraisal. So if we can get that appraisal in quickly, 30 days.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there you go. 30 days. Okay. If when you apply, your income is 1099 contracts versus W-2 employment, does that hurt your chances of getting one of these homes or programs? Okay. Lenders.
I would say that it doesn't hurt your chances. It basically makes you a self-employed borrower, and we have to go off your tax return. So, we're going to need your tax returns anyway, even if you're a W-2 borrower, because it's required for these programs. So, we just have to see what you file on your income, on your tax returns, on typically your Schedule C, or it could be your 1120s, depending on how you file your self-employment.
Okay. And I missed the question.
1099 should be a Schedule C.
Okay. And then I missed is there an income minimum for one person household?
There's no income minimum, but your minimum income will determine how much home you can afford. So as lenders, we don't ever say we can't approve you if you don't make X amount of money, but the numbers the math has the math, right? So as we said before, your debt to income ratio is going to be a percentage of your monthly gross income. So if your monthly gross income is lower, then what you can qualify is lower, and that's just how it goes.
Okay. I need clarity on the home sales price. Are the prices reduced like Atlanta Land Trust properties, or is Invest Atlanta home price based on our actual wages? I'm on a fixed income of about $41,000 a year. Okay, so the sales prices for if it's not an Atlanta Land Trust, it is the sales price. Whatever the sales price is not based on your income. So we don't have it's not based on on your income. The sales price is going to be what the sales price is unless you're looking at the Atlanta Land Trust properties.
Yeah, and let me piggyback as well. Invest Atlanta does not have properties. So I know you said Invest Atlanta home price. We don't offer homes for sale. Atlanta Land Trust offers homes for sale. We offer down payment assistance for you to go choose your own home for sale. So we don't dictate what those price points are. Our incentives dictate that the price point may not be above a certain price point, but we can't dictate what that price is being sold for unless this is the only caveat. In some cases, the developer of a project may have come to Invest Atlanta to seek development funding because we do provide that as well. In return, we expect that developer is going to have a certain percentage of affordable units within that project. And under those circumstances, we will dictate how high that price point can be based on HUD limits as well. So you heard Karen Babineau at the beginning of this conversation talk about a couple of projects that Invest Atlanta helped to finance. And so it's kind of a double whammy because number one is an Atlanta Land Trust project, which is already going to have an abbreviated price point. And then they received Invest Atlanta financing to build it. So we are also going to dictate in that circumstance a lower than market price point. So hopefully that was helpful. I know it was a lot, but it just speaks to all that Invest Atlanta is doing. Most of you may just know about down payment assistance. we provide incentives around a lot of different things that help to increase the economy for the city.
Thank you. All right. So Haley says, my then boyfriend, now husband, purchased a house in 2020 using a first-time homebuyer down payment assistance program with Atlanta Housing Authority. Am I still eligible to buy a home through Invest Atlanta? So if you are on that home with him, let me see, let me go back and see. The screen jumped. I don't know what happened.
I'm sorry, that might be me, Felicia. I'm trying to clear
Oh,
the questions that I can clear, so I apologize.
no worries. Let me find it. Sorry.
I can read it. I'm looking right at it. My then boyfriend, now husband, purchased a house in 2020 using a first-time home buyer down payment assistance program with the Atlanta Housing Authority. So her husband has an Atlanta Housing Authority loan. Am I still eligible to buy a home through Invest Atlanta? And the answer is going to be no, because you live in a home with your husband. He already has one, and you live in there with him. It'd be different if you weren't married, right? But we have to assume you already have a home because you live in that house with your husband. Hopefully, I'm interpreting that correctly. I'm assuming you live in the house, or maybe not. Maybe your husband still owns that house and he has an Atlanta housing loan on it. I don't know which is accurate, or if y'all both live there together. But either way, because you are married and your husband owns another piece of property, that's going to disqualify you from the program.
Okay. All right. What if I wanted to live in here as a starter home for a few years uh, and then move out and lease this home out? Is that possible? So remember we talked about your affordability. Once you purchase the home, you have a 5-year affordability period. After that 5 years is up, then you're able to, if you want to rent your house out at that point, that's on you. But during that 5 years, it has to be your primary residence. Okay.
So the answer is no. You
Right.
cannot rent it out inside of that 5-year period.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we can call a note and you will have to pay us our $20,000.
Yeah. So just stay there the 5 years.
Exactly.
You mentioned that we cannot cash out should we decide to refinance our home. Does this really expire after the 5-year forgiveness, or is this an indefinite rule? So after the 5 years, you're able to do, because you at that point you want to wait till you get your canceled deed. Then at that point, if you want to refinance and do cash out, you're eligible to do that after then. What is the average interest rate for lenders? That's probably a very wild question, uh, varied question. David, McCole.
I mean, it does vary depending on your credit score and the product we're using. So I don't really like to answer that question. I don't know about David.
Same.
We can talk about what your rate would be based on your scenario.
That's right. I agree.
Okay. What is the time frame one should consider from qualification letter to move in if all your documents are in order? Remember we kind of talked about that a little bit. It kind of varies. I think we all considered between 30 and 45 days, I think, from the time you go from pre-qual to actually moving into your home. Right now, probably the biggest thing is to find a home. So that may be your biggest thing right now, is to find a home in the city limits for what you're approved for. Hello, are there any free online education, home buyer education courses available? And so would you know which particular group from the IA list would offer this course? Darius, I'm not sure. It seemed like there was one that was not necessarily free, but was one of the,
Is the Urban League free? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. It seemed like there is one of them on there that tends to be free. I'm not sure. Karen, do you know if the Urban League is free?
I am not absolutely sure, but I know they offer a lot of free, seminars and classes. I don't know if the HUD certified class is free.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I think it's free.
Okay. You think it's free.
It
You
might
think that
be.
is
Yeah,
free.
I
yeah,
think it
because I've
is.
never heard a complaint. Normally they'll tell you, "Oh, this class cost me $50 or whatever," but
Yeah, yeah.
I've never heard anything from that one.
Okay. So that one may be free, the Urban League. But you might want to try them. Yes, the 8-hour class. I used the list and several had no idea what class I was asking about. I think Jackie, you're referring to the home education, home buyer education course. Just email me separately, so I can, just email me separately. Um, it was stated to be credited. One stay, one must stay minimum 1 hour to get credit. However, the question was answered that I must stay the entire time. For the sake of clarity, which is it? I'm going to stay the entire time because it's a great refresher and there's new information. I'm so excited. Well, we're glad you're excited. Um, yes, stay the whole time. We're glad you're excited, and that's what we like to hear. How do you calculate income if one partner is a contractor or a business owner? Okay, that's self-employed. So we're gonna get the last 2 years tax returns and a year-to-date P&L for that self-employed person. Anybody like to add to that one?
You're on the
Okay.
right track on that. We're going to need, we already need the tax returns for this program, so we'll incorporate in that self-employed income.
Okay. If the person is looking to move out of parents' home and hence looking to this program to buy a new home, would this make person eligible for the incentive? Yeah, so if you're looking to move into your own home, you still got to get qualified. We're just offering the down payment assistance. So you're saying only person will be earning and should not include the parent's income. So, right, if you're moving out to your own place by yourself, we're going to be looking at your income. The only way we would be looking at your parents' income is if they were moving in with you. Then that would be considered a 3-person if you're talking about both parents household. But if it's just you, we're just looking at your income. If any participants need a real estate agent, I do not mind assisting. I'm a local realtor and native to Atlanta. So there's information in there for you guys who may be looking for an agent. If I'm planning on purchasing a home with my husband, do you look at both of our credits to determine if we qualify for a loan? So that's a lender question and depend on if both of you are going to be on the loan. So, Nicole?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, let's see, if I'm planning on purchasing a home with my husband, you look at both of our credits to determine if we qualify for a loan. Absolutely. Both people on the loan have to credit qualify.
Okay. Okay. I think I skipped this question because I
Yeah.
believe Anita is moving
I,
moving
I
around.
am, and I apologize. I wasn't going to let you miss them, but yeah, I was like,
Uh,
I'm trying to.
well, but I thank you because I normally I have to do them and go at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you aware of any additional programs to help with down payment that may be available later this year? I believe there was some program in June during prior years. So you're saying additional programs. So June is homeownership month, and we generally do just, we still have some of our same incentives. We still have all of our same incentives. We try to do something a little bit extra. Um, last year we did $30,000 for one of our programs, our incentives. So if that's what you're talking about, We hope to do something like that, very similar this year. We try to make sure we do something special for Homeownership Month. But again, additionally, layering ours with Atlanta Housing will give you our 20 plus Atlanta Housing's 20. So that's $40,000 right there for you if something you need now. So we did about the credit for that one. Do you guys have the names of the properties we
I'm sorry,
were?
I just sent the answer. I was
Okay.
emailing it. That was Browns Mill Village. We were in Browns Mill Village last year for our homeownership event. That's an Atlanta Habitat property, but that was Browns Mill Village. I'm sorry, and I
Okay.
just typed it and sent it as you
Okay.
were reading it.
It just
Sorry.
flew away. How is household income? And I think I skipped these and I'm going back up. How is household income determined if you live with your parents? Okay, so I think we've kind of touched on this, Courtney. If you're going to be living with your parents and you all will be buying the home, then or living in the home. If you all three are going to be living in the home, then that's going to be considered a three-person household. So we're going to use everybody's income, and depending on which incentive you're looking at, whether it's at the 120% area median income, or if you're doing a renovation loan, or Vine City 140% area median income, then it depends on what that three-person household income is. So that's how we're going to look at to see what the income limit is, how the income limit is determined. Okay. Uh, let's see. If when you apply, your income is 1090, didn't we do this one? I think we did that one,
Yeah.
right?
We
Okay.
did.
we
I
did
just
that.
need to get rid of it. Sorry.
Okay. Who determines how much? Did we do that one? Who determines how much money I would need for
No,
renovations
we didn't do that
and
one. I
how
didn't hear you.
much? Okay. Who determines how much money I will need for renovations and how much does the program cover? Nicole, you're not
So,
renovation, and I don't think David
yeah.
does renovation.
Well,
No, I
so
can't do it anymore.
Okay.
yeah, so with regards to who determines how much you will need for renovation, so you're going to have to bid the job. It depends on what it is you're trying to get done, right? So if you are walking through a house and you decide this is a house that you want to put under a contract, but you recognize that, hey, I'd like to get, new flooring, new cabinets, new appliances. You're going to have to bid those jobs out. That's part of your responsibility in a renovation loan. You're going to have to get a contractor to come and bid that job to see how much it's going to cost. And so, with regards to a renovation loan, I'll talk a little bit about it, but this is why you want to go to renovation training. So, a renovation loan is a loan that's going to allow you to finance not only the purchase of that property, but the cost of the repairs in the same loan. So if you call McCall and McCall says you're qualified for a $250,000 loan, then you are not house hunting at $250,000. If your goal is to do renovation, you want to have a purchase price that is at 150, so that you will have another $100,000 for a renovation budget, so that your total loan will be at the 250,000 mark that you were qualified for. So that one loan will cover the cost, the $150,000 cost to buy the property, and the $100,000 budget for renovations. Okay, so that's how you kind of start when you're thinking about doing a renovation. When you get a pre-qualification amount, then you are going to house hunt lower than that amount to give yourself room for the cost of renovation in your approval amount. Okay, you are then going to figure out what in that property you want to get renovated. You're going to have to get a contractor to bid that renovation. And obviously, you can only spend the amount of money in your renovation budget. Hopefully that is making sense. And that's as far as I will go on that. But this is the reason why we ask that you all attend a renovation training, because you're going to need to learn about all of that type of stuff and where your responsibilities lie in that type of transaction. Okay? Okay, Felicia.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We did the parents. Let's see who determines how much. Okay, we did that. Can you put the information regarding ADP in the chart?
I think maybe ANDP. I don't know if that's what that was. Maybe.
So ANDP is on the screen right now. I think you guys can still see my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, andpi.org. andpi.org. Okay. If I am planning on purchasing a home with my husband, do you look? Okay, we got that one. For those that may be over $25,000 liquid asset cap, what are other grants or programs available? So we used to have one that didn't have we used to have an incentive that did not have a liquid asset cap. Um, we may be looking at something like that in the
Mm-hmm.
future, but right now we don't have anything. Um, but stay tuned. I mean, something may be coming soon about that. So stay
Absolutely.
tuned about that.
And so to the person's response that asked about, other programs coming in June, we're working on something big, in my opinion. So, and I hope to have it available and ready to launch for buying season. So to Felicia's point, stay tuned.
Exactly. We got some exciting things,
It is.
guys.
I know. I'm so excited.
If your present home is valued at more than 25,000, is that used against us for the asset amount? Because you mentioned that we don't need to be first-time home buyers. So you don't have to be a first-time home buyer, but remember I stated that you cannot own any other property at the time of closing. So if you're trying to get our incentive, you cannot own another home at the time of closing. Okay. So
Yeah, and I'm gonna piggyback off of that. So to your point, Felicia, you cannot own another home at the time of closing, which means that the home that Jackie has would need to be sold. And so she's asking, this is the way I understand the question. If she sells that house and it's going to net her more than $25,000, is that going to hinder her?
yes, you're over the $25,000 liquid asset.
Yes, yes, you will be over. That's exactly right. And so even if you were doing a simultaneous closing, let's just say you found a new home and you were going to close on the sale of your current home the day before you closed on on your new home and our incentives. And you could do that. We've had people do it. They sold their home the day before and they closed on a new home the next day. We are certainly going to be looking at the settlement statement of that that initial sales transaction. If you net more than $25,000 in that transaction, it is going to put you over the liquid asset cap amount. So I think that's where you were going, Jackie. Hopefully we answered your question.
Yep. But that's a good thing. Now you could put that money
That's
down
exactly right. I
to
don't
your home. So
Yeah, no, I
that's
agree. We don't look at that. I mean, you shouldn't look at that as a negative. I know it's everybody's goal to use somebody else's money, but if you've got more than $25,000 of liquid assets, you don't need our money. That's
right.
the way we look at it.
Right.
Okay,
Can I
Okay.
piggyback on that real
Yeah.
quick?
Go
please
ahead.
do.
So also if you're on the deed of a property, then you own a home. So even if your uncle in North Carolina puts you on their property in case something happens to him, then you're still considered a homeowner. So just you got to watch out for that.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Great point, David. Hi, what do lenders require if you're new to the state? I am new to Georgia, less than 6 months. My main concern is the length of employment. Back home, I was employed with the same company for 5 years. Okay, guys. Nicole, David.
That's normally not an issue. If you're still a W-2 employee, that's not a problem at all. We just require basically you just be on the job for 30 days as full-time W-2 employee. Now, I will tell you this, if you're only a resident of the state for less than 6 months, you can't do Atlanta Housing Authority. We can't layer you with them, but we're fine with Invest Atlanta.
Okay. For the IA regular DPA, what is the fee, please? Is it 1,000 or 1 point or 1.5 or 1,500? For the regular DPA, I'm guessing you're meaning so IMAP has a $1,000 program fee. I'm just trying to think about the top of my head. ATL Home Renovation Advantage is a $1,200 program fee. Perry Bolton is a $1,000 program fee. And what's the other one am I missing? What other program? Vine
Sorry,
City?
Vine City.
Vine City is a $1,000 program fee. Okay. So it just depends on which one you're looking at. It's either gonna be 1,000 or 1,200. Okay. Should we wait for the interest rate to go down or buy now? I mean, I think that's a more of a personal question, Cindy, but
Yeah, but
guys,
I wouldn't wait because price points aren't going down. Listen, people were buying property when the interest rates were 12 and 14%. People will buy property at the lowest rate of the day, whatever that is.
Okay.
So the reality is that the rate today is not bad. You know, people are just accustomed to seeing a very unnatural, 3%, 4% interest rate. It may be years and years and years before we ever see that again. A 6%, 6.125% is not a bad interest rate. So I'm not sure what you'd be waiting for. You'd be waiting for price points to go up, is what you'd be waiting for.
And they're
So
going up.
yeah, that's my take on that.
Okay.
I agree. I wouldn't wait. We've been hearing that the rates were going to go down for over a year now.
Yeah, and they've gone down a little bit. They've
Yeah,
gone down a little
very
bit.
little.
But you also offer the ability to refinance if they do, so you have nothing to lose in that respect. You're still gonna be able to maintain the down payment assistance even if the rates go down. So all you're doing is waiting on rental prices to go up. So nobody, you're gonna pay more for something. So I'd rather pay more for something that's mine. So
Okay.
It's a good point.
Yep. Thank you. NID is the free one. I'm guessing that means the free course, education
Homebuyer
course.
education.
Mhm.
I think that's
NID.
NID.
And somebody later, I've already removed it, but somebody said that Urban League is free too.
Okay. Okay. Could you post Mitchell's information, or the person I talked to in regards to the down payment for business property?
I think you need to speak to Cynthia Freeman in our small business department, and it's cfreeman@investatlanta.com. And
Okay.
I'll put it.
Thank you. I came in a bit late. If you haven't already, how would I qualify for the $20,000 assist? Wow, Michael. Yeah, you came in real late, but
You're
yeah,
gonna have to go watch the recording.
go watch the video because if you came in real late, you wouldn't have been on here at least 60 minutes, so you wouldn't get credit for the session if you came in late. So I would say either go take the Q&A session online. Sorry. So self-employed, do you have an option to buy? I was told we have to be on a job for a year plus. Self-employed, Nicole, David.
yeah, like David was saying, So self-employment is always, a tricky topic, but you need 2 years of being self-employed in order to qualify for traditional financing. So, which is what we will be using for these programs. So 2 years of being self-employed in the same line of work or the same business, and we will be using the income from your tax returns to reference that. So 2 years of self-employed tax returns filed, and we're going to use the net income for qualifying. So that's another tricky part of being self-employed. You could gross 100,000, but if you decided to write off expenses in the amount of 80,000, because you're only paying taxes, you want to only pay taxes, whether you get into whether the write-offs are legitimate, not legitimate, whatever it is, if you decide that you're going to net $20,000 for your income after expenses, that's what we're going to use to qualify you with. And we're going to average that on a 2-year basis. So honestly, if you're self-employed, everybody's self-employment situation is different. So you can talk to David and I in more detail about your specific situation for more clarity.
Okay. Do you recommend that we get multiple pre-approvals with lenders who are a part of the Invest Atlanta program? I would say you don't necessarily have to. The rates are going to be what they're going to be. David and Nicole wouldn't, you're not going to get like a rate of 6.5% from one and a 7.25 from another. Their rates are probably going to be very similar, but you can, if that's what you like to do. But you don't necessarily have to. Is the home?
David and I to co-sign on that. So
What'd you say?
You're not gonna get David and I to co-sign on that.
No, it really doesn't make a lot. No, listen, what I'll say is it's your right as a consumer to shop. It's your right, but when you're working in this program and you're working with our top producers like David and Nicole, it really doesn't make sense.
Right. Okay, is the home supply still low in Atlanta? I mean, probably.
Low everywhere.
I was gonna say probably.
Affordable housing is tough. Yeah,
right.
Everywhere.
That's a question that they can get their agent to answer. The agents can pull information from the MLS to show them what inventory is in their area, the area they want to live.
Great point,
True.
Karen. Great point. Just to confirm, you can't use IA if your name is on a mortgage in a different state, i.e. the home is now a rental property and no longer considered the primary residence. That is correct. You cannot get our incentive if you still own that home. No, the supply of home is sufficient at all price points. So Monique is an agent, so she said the houses are still sufficient. Supply of homes is still sufficient at all price points. Okay. Well, we got through all of those questions.
7 minutes to spare.
7 minutes to spare. So thank you guys. Thank you, David. What's the maximum loan again?
$375, right? Maximum purchase price.
385. 385.
Oh, we sure did change that. So
385.
yeah, on everything but Perry Bolton.
Perry Bolton, right? Perry Bolton is 300,000, and if you're doing a run of 385 is the maximum.
It went up.
Yeah,
David, it went up a few months ago.
It's good news.
Yep. So it did go up to 385. And I
it's
guess
375 with the AHA, David, though. So it's gotta be. It's still 375 with Atlanta housing, so that's the little.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, guys, we have cleared all the questions, and that is a great thing. So if you guys have stayed on here, you will get an email from Homeownership by Friday. So by Friday, you'll get an email from Homeownership stating the subject line will be the date of this, today's date, and it will say confirmation of your attendance. So this is the email that you will forward to David or McCole. Okay, so hang on to that email. Okay, it's very important because if you say you can't find it, or I can probably pull it back up, but we want you guys to hang on to things so that you can get to your lender. Okay. This is one of the things we talked about. When you have the information, you can get it back to them and they can get what I need so we can keep that process moving. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thank you, David. Thank you,
Thank you.
McCole. Thank you so much, Karen. We didn't hear
You're
from you too
welcome.
much tonight, but we appreciate you being a part of this team as well. Kirsten, thank you. Anita, thank you as always for jumping in and moving my slides so I couldn't see them.
No worries. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody. I appreciate everyone's time and energy tonight. It's a great session. We hope
Yes.
that you all got a whole lot of information. I'm counting 98 questions
Mm-hmm.
answered, which is amazing, which is
Mm-hmm.
why we say stay for the second
Mm.
hour, because you
Right.
will learn a lot just listening to the answers to the questions. So great session,
Yes.
guys. Thank you,
Yes.
Nicole,
Thank you.
David. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great evening.
Good
All
night,
right, you too.
everybody.
Good
Everyone have a
Night,
night.
good night.
everybody.
Night.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Karen.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.